Hi, welcome back to our Global Success Summit. It's your friend Chris with the beautiful Elizabeth, and we are so excited to introduce our next guest.
There you go. Your audio kicked in. Sorry. We're here. We're here. I'm
Oh,
sorry, Chris. Yep. No, it happens. We're live. Talk again. Just say hello.
hello, but you know
There
what?
you go.
Oh,
Nope,
is
it's
it
good
good?
now. Perfect. Hi, Lisa Tanner. How are you? Yeah, it's good.
I'm
You're good.
well, thanks. It's so great to be here with both of you today.
Thank you. It's wonderful to have you here, and this is a really neat moment to have you with us because I'm hoping people really understand who you are and what you have to offer people, as just as far as book expertise, journaling, so much. You're just so I know I just respect you so much, and you're so well respected in the industry. So it's really lovely to have you here. Sorry.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be here with you, and what a fantastic summit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Can
there we
you
go. Your
can you
audio's
hear me
good.
now? Okay.
Yeah, we've got
Yes,
you fine.
we're good.
Thank you for fixing that. So let's just go right off the bat to success. What does success on your terms mean to you?
You know, I love this topic, and it felt so timely for me because, as you know, I just had a book launch, and I can be very type A. So, there was this part of me that, was looking at the numbers and, being a number one bestseller and for how long and how many books do we sell? And, really that's not what success is. And we all kind of know it, but sometimes we forget.
Yeah.
And it really is that every single person you touch and make a difference for, that's real success, right? And every time we tap into our creativity and create something that makes us feel good, that's success. So it's easy to get lost in what society says success is, but really we know what it is, and it's an inner feeling, right? It's something that just lights up from inside.
Well, you're one of those people that helps other people be successful. You put some of your stuff second to all of our books. I mean, I wouldn't have a Hay House book percolate without you. I remember sending you my files and yeah, and being like, just please sort through this. I don't know what I'm quite doing, but I know you help so many people. I mean, I love that picture of you with our summit. Those are books that you've actually helped put out into the universe. You must just be like, oh, I'm so successful.
Yeah, definitely. I think so many of us and uh, who are teachers or coaches, a big part of what we do, and I know that's true of both of you too, is lift other people up and help them tap into their creativity, their greatness, their gifts, so they can shine. And that's an incredibly fulfilling thing. And of course, then our clients' success and our community success is part of our success. We're all connected. And so that's a big part, I think, of success, is that it's not necessarily an individual thing. Even with my own book, The Joy of Writing Journal, and Chris reminded me to hold it up. So,
Yes, here it is.
but even with this book, uh, I was putting together a page of all the people to thank, and it made it so clear to me, that yes, it's my book in a way, and also it's so many people's book, because I had an incredible publisher who designed this cover and the inside, Tamara Monosoft, and then she gave me the original idea of these QR codes, which I know we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
But I had a guy, Dan Tebow, who edited all of it, like 30 something videos and audios, and put music to them and a little animation in the beginning. He just made them into these wonderful, delightful pieces to inspire my readers. And then my colleague, Portland Helmick, also, she helped me shoot the videos, and she kind of coached me through creating them, because I could talk on and on and on, so we had to shorten them and get to the point. But just there's so many people involved in making a book successful, and it's not a one person thing.
No.
Very true. Very true. And so, thank you for sharing your book. I know you're giving away a copy here today too, so we're excited for one of our viewers to be the recipient of that. We'll talk about that at the end as well. But so you're an author, but you're also a book coach. And so how did that unfold for you?
It's a funny thing. Like, I didn't know that the thing book coach existed. And I had this wacky idea for a book that ultimately became The Ultimate Guide to Transforming Anger, which I co-wrote with two other authors, Jane Middleton Moz and Pico Todd, who's a cartoonist as well as an author. And and that book came out, and so we taught workshops related to the book. I actually had just quit my job as a nonprofit director because I was having my first child, and then the book came out, and I really wasn't sure where it was going. I knew I could not work as a nonprofit director and be a new mom. So I was in that place of not knowing, but I did need to earn a living and contribute financially to the family. And I started teaching these anger workshops with my colleague Pico, and realized very quickly, like, it was not fun, even though the idea was tapping into people's creativity and sense of humor and inner knowing. When it came to anger and understanding the message, I teach these workshops and it just wasn't my thing. And I realized my thing was really helping people tap into their creativity. And I got this idea of, well, maybe like a creativity coach. And I started to do that, and people started to come to me as a writing coach. And even more specifically, they wanted help with book proposals to get a book deal. And so very quickly, my people found me. They told me really what I was. They helped me realize. And so my website kept changing from creativity coach to writing coach to book coach. So it's been a really interesting journey, because it definitely wasn't, sort of this linear, here's where I'm going. But over time, I saw through what my clients needed, what I was to them.
Yeah.
Do you,
Awesome.
do you have any idea of how many books you've helped people put out into the universe? Do you like
Um,
a
well,
tally mark or?
yeah, if we said editing, it would probably be under 100. But if we said maybe it would be more than 100, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But if we said, like all the people that would come to the Harvard Medical School publishing course, and I would do these creativity exercises with them, or teach them about book proposals, and if you include those folks, folks in different workshops and things that I've taught, and at conferences, then we're probably talking thousands, which is kind of an exciting thought too.
That's
so
incredible. That is awesome. And I love, a moment ago you were talking about like how much it takes to put a book together, right? There's a lot of moving pieces, and there's departments, and there is so much going on to it, and it can sometimes feel chaotic or overwhelming. And so when we look at success, do you think that we need to have a strategy for success? I know you do. I'm going to frame it like that, let you talk about it. What does that mean to you, having a strategy for success? Because it can be, too many juggling balls in the air, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. So, I think I'm a little iconoclastic here, because I do think there's a place for strategy, no question. And there's a place for having a business plan, and there's a place for having a plan for your book, definitely a plan for your book. But there's also a place for intuition and trusting, and sometimes not knowing. And so my career, definitely, when I look at what's made me successful, it hasn't been strategies so much as really listening to my intuition and paying attention and being open to opportunities that came to me. So I I really can't say I was very strategic in my own business. And yet I think there are times that I've been strategic. So there's a place for strategy. And for some people, it's really important to have a strategy and a business plan. And I did create a business plan when I started my business, but it was so different from what my business became. So it's kind of, I would say most of the things that happened in my career were really serendipitous. And but I did listen, and I took classes when social media started becoming a thing. I took a class called Smarts, and it was really valuable, and I learned a lot, and I really learned how important blogging was. My husband had also been telling me that. So I started blogging early on, and I think that's really helped me with Google. It helps that with my website a lot. So people find my website on national search very easily when they're searching for a book coach, or searching for a book proposal help, or creativity, lots of different things, journaling. So that's really, I think, blogging early on and often really helped with that, having a lot of relevant content for Google. So I would say I employed strategies, but overall, in terms of really where my business went, it was definitely about following my heart and intuition and listening to what the people who came to me said, my customers or my clients.
What about with a book? You know, a lot of people say, well, it's one thing to write the book, it's another thing to market a book. So for people out there who have books or who are listening today to tune in to, you know, the marketing part of a book, do you have a strategy for marketing your new
Yeah,
journal? Like, is
and
that more?
that is really important. And the thing is, too, I was talking to a colleague at Zilker Media like last week, Paige Velasquez, who's their CEO. And she was saying, things that worked last week aren't working this week. Things that worked on LinkedIn last month, they're not working this month. So you want to be careful of not just like following the next trend, and yet you do need to know what the trends are right now.
Yeah.
So I would say, create a marketing strategy early on, but also look at it again when it's time to promote and make sure it's still a good strategy. And the more you base your strategy on where are my likely readers hanging out and what are the best ways to reach them, but also ways that I enjoy, that's going to lead to the best marketing strategy that you
That's a
can.
good point right there. The part that I enjoy.
Right, it's huge, as you know, as someone who's successfully marketed and published several books. If you don't enjoy it, you can't sustain it. And also, I think it doesn't work. Like you try to make it work, but usually, if it's not really following your heart, it's not going to work that well.
Yeah.
And the things that work the best are really what you enjoy. So I found with launching my book, and we were on a #1 bestseller in a couple categories and a hot new release in like 6 categories.
Okay.
And on the bestseller list for like 12 days, which apparently is
That's big.
a good
It's hard to do. Yeah.
number. But the biggest parts of my strategy were asking friends to spread the word and asking my colleagues to spread the word. And some of them put notices in their newsletters. Some sent a solo email, and then doing some guest posting and for like the San Francisco Writers Conference and Live, Write, Thrive. I hope
Yeah.
that's the right order.
It is.
And a number of other writing. Nina Mir, I guest posted for her. So different people who are in the writing field and their readers are writers. So again, a very targeted strategy for reaching the people who are likely to be interested in my book. And my book isn't just for writers, but a big part, I'd say a lot of the core audience would be writers or people who want to write, maybe even if they haven't before. So it's being targeted, and I enjoy guest posting. It's been really fun writing those articles. So if it weren't fun, I probably wouldn't still be doing it, and then I'd need to look for another strategy. So find something you're going to enjoy, and at the same time, it is good to push yourself. And one good example is Pat Hastings. She wrote Simply a Woman of Faith, and she said, I hate marketing. I'm not a marketer. And I helped her reframe it to, this is just about being of service to your future readers and reaching them with your wonderful stories. She has these really inspiring stories of things that happened to her through prayer. And so what she found was she really loved sharing her stories, and it turned her on. And so things that she thought were really intimidating actually ended up being really, really fun for her. So do push yourself to try things, but don't push yourself to continue to do something that's not feeling good.
Beautiful. Beautifully.
Yeah. Good advice. And I mean, it is one thing to talk about doing the things you enjoy and making it sound so wonderful, but you must have had challenges along the way. And so, Lisa, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in your professional life? And then the follow-up is, how did you overcome them? How did you transcend them?
So, I would say one challenge, I was working at a nonprofit, and I was really burnt out. And journaling really helped me. And that actually gave me the idea for my first book. So not only did it help me create a whole book, but it also helped me pivot, I guess, to this new career that I didn't even know existed. And so that was a big one. And then in starting this business specifically as a book coach, again, journaling was really helpful. I had a very young child. I was a pretty new mom, and I really wanted to be at home, but I also needed to contribute to the family financially. And it just it really, when I journaled, it really became clear how I could take the skills that I learned in writing a book and apply them to a business. So, so journaling's been a big one, and I think just taking risks, the entrepreneurial thing, and that has been, I think, also really, really helpful. And then more recently, I was going to launched my book in January, and I got really sick, and I was in the hospital actually. And I know that it was the stress I put on myself of, I have to do everything for this book launch. And I like made these lists, and I'm not that organized a person. So I had like multiple lists in multiple places of marketing plans and all these people I was going to contact. And it was just too much. And I realized that, I'm just going to do what I can for the launch. I changed my launch date to September 22nd and do what I can. And then whatever I don't do before the launch are the things that I can do after the launch. So that has been much more relaxed, and it just feels much nicer than like being so stressed, because I was constantly feeling like I'm never going to get it all done. So my advice there would definitely be to slow down and really tune in to what's going to be doable, and also, going back to that fulfilling and enjoyable and resonating for you.
Yeah.
Lisa, what makes a book successful? And I mean that, don't answer that, please, in terms of like the New York Times bestseller qualifications. Yeah. Answer it more like theoretically. You can.
Yeah. So, I'm always hearing from clients who will send me like an email about an email they got from one of their readers, or, they went to do a book talk, and the feedback they got from people. And so, one of the things that makes a book successful is just that it really has the power to transform something for people. It empowers them, or it moves them, or it changes something for them. And so I would say, that's probably one of the most important things. Like, does your book have that ability? And if not, how can you work that into the book? In my Bring Your Book to Life program, which I only teach once a year, but we really focus on, how can you make it maybe experiential for your reader, or how can you make it something that has that power for transformation for them? And so I would say that's a big piece. And to do that, you really need to understand your readers. So that's going to be really important to the successful book, is understanding your readers. Usually, sometimes a book just comes and, it's like your reader is you, so you get it. And you don't really think about it, but it just naturally happens. And then I would say too, is really enjoying it. And the more fun you have, the more fun your readers are going to have. So, just sometimes people come to the idea of writing a book that it's going to be hard, and then it is. So if you come to the idea that this is going to be fun, this is going to be exciting, then you can make it that way.
That's such a great snippet of advice. And it's so beautiful to hear you talking about enjoyment and love and passion, because your whole book coming out is called The Joy of Writing. Like, the joy is in the title. And I love that. And so what advice do you have for people if they never mind writing a book, but let's talk about the journaling side of it? We'll go back to books in a minute. But if someone's like, well, I'm staring at a blank page, I don't know what to do. What would you advise in that case then?
Yeah, well,
I've been there with Lisa before.
Advertisement, but the Joy Writing Journal, I really wrote it so that you don't have to stare at a blank page. And so we start with like maybe a video or even an audio meditation that you can scan it with your phone, and there it is right on your phone. Something really short to just spark something and help you feel inspired. And then usually, not always, but usually I'll have people make a list. So, it might be 5 things, might be 10 things, depending. But we start with a list, which is so easy. It's easy to make lists. Favorite words, favorite place to write, where I want to go on vacation next. And then we have a prompt. And sometimes the prompt, I don't know if you could see it.
Yeah.
There we can a little bit. Yeah, there
So,
we can.
here's a list of 5. And then the prompt, sometimes it's going to be obvious, like pick one and imagine this dream or vision coming true. So, that would be sort of obvious, but sometimes I'll surprise you with what you end up doing with your list. So often it's helpful to have somebody guide you. And I think a guided journal like this can be a good way to go. But also you could just do a gratitude journal and just write about things you're grateful for every day, or a dream journal. And I do that myself. In the morning, I'll write my dreams down and then a little bit about maybe associations I have with that dream.
So if we can't be in your class, we can have your book and get kind of that same kind of Lisa vibe to be inspired to write. I remember, I don't know if you still have that blog up, but you did a blog. I remember you vividly saying, you need to find your muse. You need to find. Do you remember that?
I remember us working on the muse. And
yeah, I'm like, Nadia, there she is. She's on the balance beam. She's successful. She's got it. But yeah, that moment kind of got me over that hurdle. So I would really recommend to people, if you're writing a book or writing anything for that matter, because or just in life, sometimes we get stuck doing what we're trying to do and we're stuck, and the outside opinion, the outside eyes, the outside viewpoint is so lovely. And you really do a great job of that with people's books. I've worked with you and we went through many revisions, and it was a delight. It's a much better book than it would be without you.
Thank you. Well, it was a joy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was a joy, but it was a lot of work too.
Okay, you are reminding me. There are times of struggle sometimes too, and some books are easier than others. Sometimes the first can be challenging. I think you had so many books in you. It was hard to kind of focus, right?
What does so many books in me, and it gets hard to focus. But yeah, that was the biggest thing. And I was like, okay, we gotta extract, and that's a big part of it too, because a lot of the times it's either like a concept or an actual book title. And the concept, the book title you're thinking might just be wrapped up in the book as a chapter or something like that. The structure of it, the structure of a book is so critical. That's one of the things that I love about this book that you just wrote, The Joy of Writing Journal, because the structure is beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, in 30 days, you've got this creative habit for life.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that, we just talked about how Elizabeth writing and you helping her, and you just mentioned the word creative. And I think that's one of your special skills, Lisa, is helping people tap into their creativity. And I love that little QR code. That is just genius, that you can just scan and be taken to a video or a prompt or something online like that. I'd love that. So hats off to you. And I'm stealing your idea in future, just so you know.
She'll help you. No, the beautiful thing about Lisa is you can announce you're stealing it, but she will help you and show up for you to do it. That's what's cool about Lisa. There's no competitive component to you. You're all helping people succeed 100%.
Yeah, I steal that idea, right? Steal this book. And, I wasn't the first person to use QR codes in books, but my publisher, Tamara Monosoff, was the person who introduced me to it. So we're all sharing it. I've shared it with a few clients who then won book awards with their books. So I think it is a really fabulous idea. And it was really exciting to, when it first came to me, to do that myself, and how. So I'll be interested to see how you do it in your book, Chris.
Thank you. We'll see. So speaking of books, I know we're just about short on time here, but many of our viewers watching and listening, they dream of writing a book. And what advice do you have for them about writing their book and the publishing path? And again, keeping it super short, the Coles notes, the nutshell.
You have to make time for it, and you have to be clear about why you're doing it and really stay engaged with that vision. because, otherwise it's not going to happen. So really get clear on why, make the time, and decide what you're letting go of to make the space for that book. And then you'll be able to do it.
Do you think everybody has to traditionally publish?
No, not at all. Actually, I traditionally published my first book, and then this book's self-published, and I have another book that is mostly written, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one. So it's kind of fun to experiment. Self-publishing is nice because you do have creative control, which is what I really wanted for this book, and I'm so glad I did that, especially at a time when there are all these like paper shortages and weird things going on in publishing. My book was available right away. And so it was nice to be in control of the process. But traditional publishing has so many perks too. So it's really dependent on your vision and the particular book and the marketability of it and how much it will appeal to publishers, and really having a solid book proposal.
Lisa, it's been so fun having you here. It's been fun reconnecting and seeing you. Congratulations on your new book. Where would you like people to go to find you, and what would you like to give away?
Well, you can go to lisatenner.com, lisatener.com, and we are giving away 2 things. So one person will win the book, and one person will get
Cool.
a tote bag. Really nice one too.
Yeah, no, that looks wonderful. So to be clear with everybody listening, because you can listen to this free, you have to register in order to get the gifts. That's what I'm trying to say. I can talk. Go to besteveryou.com/global summit and register for the conference. We're drawing the winners from the people who register for the conference. So we appreciate everybody listening. And Lisa, thank you for being here, and congratulations again. It's a wonderful book.
So much. Bye.
Take care,
Thanks,
everybody.
Lisa. Bye for now.